Legalizing psilocybin, also known as magic mushrooms, was on the Washington legislature's agenda this session. It stalled in the Senate, so it won't go through in this session. Brand new tonight at 6:30, Emily Bloom explains what psilocybin is and why lawmakers are taking notice of the potential benefits of this street drug.
Psilocybin is the psychedelic compound found in some species of mushrooms. Sometimes referred to as magic mushrooms, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration granted it as a breakthrough therapy for treating depression. As a few local advocates make very clear, this is not about getting high.
But people have this experience of feeling relief from their symptoms, and they feel like, oh, there is a way out.
Lawmakers are opening their minds to innovation that advocates say really show promise.
Previous studies for people with depression and anxiety and existential issues related to cancer have shown that psilocybin-assisted therapy can be very beneficial and can show dramatic, long-lasting reductions in people's symptoms so that, they feel better, they live better.
Dr. Anthony Bach, an oncologist at the University of Washington, says psilocybin works in totally different ways than current antidepressants.
When people have these intense feelings of being depressed and they just feel like their life is worthless, definitely the antidepressants can damp that down, but it also dampens down the good emotions too.
Research behind depression and anxiety show people struggle with cycles of repetitive thinking. Dr. Bach explains those cycles can take on a life of their own.
What the psychedelics do is they disrupt those cycles of thinking and give people a chance to have new ways of thinking, new habits of thought.
This treatment would have included therapy before, during, and after the psychedelic experience was prescribed. So the insight gained during the experience would be put into practice in everyday life. For Dr. Bach, that was a key component to this bill.
We hope that it can just lead to that process of transformation, and maybe for some people that's kicking an addiction and getting them out of that cycle that they've been stuck in.
Mason Lord, a local yoga instructor, understands those cycles too.
So I've had some issues with PTSD myself related to that, and psilocybin has helped me in a very profound way.
He was in a near-fatal car accident in 2008 and is still working on recovery physically and mentally to this day.
I can give a lot of credit to this one experience I had with psilocybin last February in kind of just readjusting my outlook and being a lot more comfortable in my skin.
1 year later, Mason says he's still integrating that experience into his life.
This isn't something you do all of the time. This is something you do every once in a while and then integrate those experiences.
Through the eyes of these advocates, psilocybin is misrepresented.
There is this stigma that psilocybin was associated with hippies, that it was just people tripping and doing these frivolous things.
That's not what this is about.
What we need to do is start talking about how psilocybin can be used in a safe, responsible way to really help people.
Dr. Bach is actually leading a trial at the University of Washington right now in which they are using psilocybin to treat healthcare workers who are dealing with depression and anxiety related to the pandemic. Senator Jesse Solomon, who introduced the bill, tells me when bills fail, you can typically point to a powerful lobbyist group. He says that was not the case here. It was just a very big new idea that many legislators had heard of for the first time, and they probably need a bit more time to think about it. He does plan to reintroduce it. It's also important to note that those who have a predisposition to mental illnesses, such as paranoid schizophrenia, psilocybin is not recommended. Reporting in studio, Emily Bloom, 4 News Now.